The night was surprisingly cool for the summertime, and I had just moved up north. The sky was very dark compared to the city sky that I was used to. My new roommates had just gone to bed, so I was by myself and decided to step out and have a smoke. I enjoyed the newfound brightness of the stars and how quiet and very peaceful it was up here. I started getting lost in my thoughts when I heard a noise coming from the bushes in front of the patio. I decided to investigate. I didn't find anything, but decided to keep walking up the dirt road past my house. I started towards the only streetlight on my block. As I got closer, the wind picked up, seemingly out of nowhere. It was very strange because up until that point, the weather was very calm. I stood illuminated by the streetlight and looked back in the direction of my house. When I did, I saw a slight silhouette of a person standing in my front yard. I called out to them, "Sam?" Who was one of my roommates. "Is that you?" The figure was no longer there, so I dismissed it as one of my neighbors going out for a walk. I started walking back towards the house. I was just about to reach my driveway when I had the strong urge like someone was watching me. I looked back towards the street light and I froze in terror. I saw a tall humanoid figure. It almost looked like the alien I had encountered as a child, but it looked as if it was wearing some type of black suit. It stared at me with no eyes. I took in a deep breath and I mustered up as much energy as I could, and I started moving backwards. But as I did, I hit the stairs and I almost fell. The instant my foot hit that bottom step, the streetlight began to flicker, and the figure was suddenly gone. I jumped up my stairs and grabbed at the door, but it was locked, and I know I had left the door unlocked. I just know it. I began to panic, but then I calmed down a bit. I realized they told me that if I was ever locked out, there was a spare key under the chair cushion on the patio. I rushed over to the chair, which, to give you a visual, when you walk out the front door, to the right is a couch, and the right of that is the big chair. So I find the key, which calms me down, but as quickly as I was calm, it was replaced with fear. In front of me, just over the railing of the porch, stood the figure. Just to give you an idea of how tall he was, the rock he stood behind came up to the top of my legs, and I'm 5'2". The rock only came up to his ankles, so as you could imagine, he was quite a bit taller than myself. I start backing up slowly. As I did, a black tentacle-like arm shot out from behind his two normal arms that still hung at his side. It came inches from my shoulder, and I fell on the ground, but I hurried backwards in a sort of crab walk motion to the door, and got it unlocked, and fell inside. I couldn't sleep for what seemed like weeks, and that wasn't my last encounter with this being. So I know this story is going to be quite different than most. Some may even be pretty shocked. So it was around 10 at night, and I had just moved into my current home. I had been living here not very long and had 3 or 4 experiences similar to this one. Just little happenings here and there when I would go for walks at night, and a lot of the time I would water my garden at night because of how hot it gets during the daytime. So back to the story. I had stepped out for a smoke and was sitting on the bench in my front yard. A little side note, I had been doing some research and read somewhere that if you confront or acknowledge a presence you are having issues with in a positive manner and show no fear, that it can help with confrontations or encounters, even eliminate them altogether. I was just about done with my cigarette and I got that all too familiar feeling that something was watching me. I look up and sure enough, I see something slouched behind the fence across the street from my house. I don't break my gaze and realize it's the same being which I have been having encounters with for years. As I keep watching, he slowly climbs the fence and stands up and just stops in front of the fence and stands there. I decide to get up and I walk towards him. I stop at the end of my driveway and I put my hands together like in a prayer motion. I step back and I decide to bow, like how Japanese people do when they are showing respect to someone. I keep my head down for a few seconds, and I am showing no fear, and I'm feeling no fear. And as I look up, he is completely gone. And it's almost been a year since this occurrence, and I haven't seen him again, and this is the longest I've gone without seeing him, since I was 9 years old.